There is a reason the enemy comes disguised as light, because he knows that when a woman discovers her true value in the kingdom of God, she becomes unstoppable. You are not created to be manipulated. You are not designed to be controlled. You are a carrier of divine purpose. And that purpose threatens every force of darkness that seeks to silence your voice. The narcissist is not attracted to your weakness. He is attracted to your light. He sees the glory on you, even when you don't. He studies your kindness. He tests your patience. He exploits your loyalty. But I came to remind you today that before the narcissist formed the plan, God had already positioned his angels. You see, angels are not mystical beings just flying in the heavens. They are divine agents assigned by the King himself to guard the territory of your destiny. When you cried in silence, angels were listening. When you tried to fix what was breaking you, angels were already preparing a way of escape. That unexplained peace you felt in the middle of your storm. That was an angel whispering, "You're not alone." Many women ask, "Why did I have to go through it?" But I want you to change the question. Ask, "Why did I survive it?" Because every trap set against you failed. Every lie spoken over you lost its power. You are still here because God sent help. He saw what you couldn't see. He blocked what you didn't know was coming. That delay, it was divine. That rejection, it was protection. Sometimes God will allow your heart to break so your spirit can awaken. Sometimes he will let the mask fall off the narcissist so you can see what was always hidden beneath the surface. Not to shame you, but to save you. To bring you back to the truth of who you really are. A daughter of the King, not a pawn in someone else's broken game. And hear me clearly. The angels didn't come just to rescue you. They came to reposition you. Because there's a new chapter ahead that can't be written with old ink. There's a new season, and the narcissist cannot follow you there. You've outgrown the manipulation. You've outgrown the silence. You've outgrown the games. This is the season where heaven fights for you. This is the moment where you rise, not in bitterness, but in boldness. Because when God sends angels, he's not just protecting your body, he's protecting your purpose. And that purpose is sacred. Before any person enters your life, before any relationship or encounter, God has already assigned you a purpose. Your existence is not random or accidental. You were created with intention, designed with destiny in mind. Purpose comes first and people come second. This is a divine order, because if your purpose depended on people, it would be fragile, unstable, and easily derailed. People can disappoint, betray, or leave, but your purpose remains steady and sure. When you understand that God has placed a mission inside of you, it changes how you view every relationship and every interaction. You stop allowing others to define your worth or dictate your path. You realize that your identity is rooted in the assignment God gave you before the world ever knew your name. This truth is powerful, especially for a woman who might have been hurt or diminished by those around her. No matter how much someone tries to manipulate or control you, they cannot rewrite the purpose God has written on your life. The moment you begin to live from that place of divine purpose, you begin to walk with confidence and clarity. You are no longer reactive to every situation or person who tries to pull you off course. Instead, you become intentional, discerning, and focused. It also means that not every person who comes into your life is meant to stay. Some are simply passing through to teach you a lesson or test your resolve. When purpose comes first, you are protected from losing yourself in the approval or rejection of others. You learn to guard your heart and invest your energy wisely. Your purpose is a divine compass that leads you through the storms of life. It reminds you that you are greater than the challenges you face, and that God's plan for you cannot be thwarted by anyone's selfish ambition or toxicity. Purpose is the foundation on which every relationship and every decision should be built. Narcissists are like illusions on the path to your destiny. They appear dazzling at first, but their true purpose is to divert you away from the calling God has placed on your life. They feed on attention and control, not caring about your growth or well-being, only about satisfying their own selfish desires. When a narcissist enters a woman's life, they often disguise themselves with charm, flattery, and false promises, making it difficult to see their true nature until the damage has been done. But understand this, their presence is not random. They come as distractions designed to confuse, manipulate, and trap you in a cycle of dependency and pain. Their aim is to steal your focus from the mission you were born to fulfill, to cloud your vision with doubt and insecurity, and to convince you that your worth depends on their validation. However, your destiny is far greater than their temporary influence. You were created for significance, not for submission to another's ego. When you recognize a narcissist for what they are, you regain the power to break free from their grip. It is a spiritual battle where your strength comes from knowing who you are in God's kingdom and refusing to allow anyone to distort that truth. The distractions of narcissism can slow you down, but they cannot stop the purpose God has ordained for you. You must rise above the manipulation and choose to keep your eyes fixed on the divine assignment ahead. Every moment wasted on the narcissist is a moment stolen from your destiny. Refuse to be deceived by the glitter of their false light. Instead, stand firm in the reality that you are destined for greatness, and no narcissist has the authority to derail your journey. Your focus must remain on the path God has set, because only then will you walk into the fullness of your purpose. Angels are not merely spiritual beings floating aimlessly in the heavens. They are strategic agents of the kingdom, dispatched by God with divine precision and purpose. Their role is intentional and powerful. They are assigned to execute God's will on earth, especially in the lives of those who carry His destiny. When a woman is targeted by darkness, whether through manipulation, abuse, or deception, God sends His angels as protectors, guides, and warriors to intervene on her behalf. These angels operate with wisdom and authority. They are not random forces, but carefully coordinated messengers and defenders who stand between the woman and the schemes of the enemy. Their presence is a sign that God is actively involved in her life, working behind the scenes to shield her from harm and to ensure that her divine plan is not thwarted. The angels are sent to redirect her steps, open doors, close windows of opportunity for the enemy, and provide divine insight when human understanding fails. They surround her, not just to protect her body, but to guard her mind, her spirit, and her destiny. Their work may be unseen to the natural eye, but it is real and powerful. When you sense peace in chaos, when you experience unexpected deliverance or clarity amid confusion, it is often the hand of these kingdom agents at work. They respond to God's command and act swiftly, ensuring that the woman's life remains on the path God ordained. Understanding the strategic nature of angels shifts a woman's perspective from fear to faith, from helplessness to hope. It reminds her that she is never alone and that a divine army stands ready to protect, guide, and empower her to fulfill her God-given purpose. Protection is not just a random act of kindness from God. It is a clear and powerful sign that a woman carries a divine purpose. When God surrounds her with His protection, it means she is marked by significance, chosen to fulfill a destiny that matters greatly in His kingdom. The enemy recognizes this too. He targets those who are destined for greatness because they pose a threat to His plans. But God, in His infinite wisdom, places a hedge of protection around His chosen vessels to shield them from harm, deception, and destruction. This protection is not a guarantee that the road will be easy, but it is a promise that she will not be abandoned or overwhelmed beyond what she can bear. It is evidence that her life has value beyond what the world sees, that she is more than circumstance or opposition. Every barrier, every divine intervention, every moment of peace in the storm is God's way of preserving the vessel through which His purpose will be fulfilled. When a woman experiences protection, it should awaken within her a deep sense of destiny. It is a call to rise above fear, to walk boldly in confidence, knowing that God's hand is on her life. Protection also teaches patience and perseverance. It reminds her that timing is controlled by God, not by the pressures or attacks she faces. To be protected is to be honored by heaven. It confirms that her journey is not in vain and that she is on a path set apart for kingdom impact. Understanding this truth empowers a woman to reject fear and discouragement and to embrace the security that comes from being chosen and guarded by the Creator of all things. Protection is a divine signal, a sacred confirmation that she is meant for far greater things than she can imagine. Discernment is a divine gift bestowed upon those whom God intends to walk in wisdom and purpose. It is the ability to see beyond the surface, to recognize truth hidden beneath appearances, and to understand the intentions of the heart, both in oneself and in others. For a woman navigating the complexities of life, especially when faced with toxic relationships or manipulative people, discernment becomes a shield. It is not merely intuition or guesswork. It is a supernatural insight that protects her from deception and guides her toward God's perfect will. When a woman exercises discernment, she is able to distinguish between what builds her up and what tears her down, between genuine love and counterfeit affection. This gift is essential when confronting narcissists who often cloak their selfishness in charm and falsehood. Without discernment, it is easy to be misled and caught in their web of manipulation. But with this divine insight, she can perceive the hidden motives and set boundaries that honor her dignity and purpose. Discernment also brings clarity in moments of confusion and doubt, providing peace when decisions feel overwhelming. It is God's way of equipping His children to navigate a fallen world with wisdom and grace. This gift does not come from human effort alone. It is cultivated through a close relationship with God, through prayer, study of His Word, and openness to the Holy Spirit's guidance. When a woman values discernment, she learns to trust the quiet voice within that warns, redirects, or confirms. She understands that discernment is not about judgment, but about protection and preservation of her divine destiny. It empowers her to walk confidently, knowing she is not alone, and that God has given her the eyes to see clearly, even in the midst of darkness. Isolation is often misunderstood as loneliness or punishment, but in the divine economy, it can be a powerful form of intervention. When God allows a woman to be separated from certain people or environments, it is not to abandon her, but to protect and prepare her for what lies ahead. This intentional solitude creates space for clarity, healing, and realignment with God's original plan for her life. In the presence of chaos, manipulation, or toxic influence, isolation becomes a sanctuary where distractions fall away and the voice of God can be heard more clearly. It is in these moments of withdrawal that a woman can shed false identities, unhealthy attachments, and limiting beliefs that have been imposed upon her. God uses isolation to refine her character, strengthen her faith, and restore her sense of self-worth. Far from being a punishment, this divine pause is a sacred opportunity to reconnect with purpose, to listen deeply to the whispers of the Spirit, and to prepare for the next season of destiny. Isolation also acts as a protective barrier, shielding her from further harm and preventing her from being pulled back into destructive cycles. During this time, angels are assigned to watch over her, and divine strategies are put in place to realign her path. Though the world may see isolation as weakness, in the kingdom it is a sign of God's intentional hand at work. It is a call to trust the process and surrender to God's timing. In solitude, a woman is not alone. She is being positioned, protected, and purified for greater things. Isolation is God's way of saying, I am preparing you for what no one else can prepare you for. It is the quiet before the breakthrough, the preparation before the promotion, and the stillness before the storm of blessing. Healing is not merely a personal desire or an optional journey. It is a kingdom priority ordained by God for every woman who has endured pain, betrayal, or brokenness. When wounds run deep, whether from toxic relationships, manipulation, or emotional abuse, they threaten to hinder the fulfillment of divine purpose. The enemy uses those wounds to keep her bound in shame, fear, and insecurity, but God's kingdom operates on restoration and wholeness. Healing is a necessary process that prepares a woman to stand strong in her identity and carry out her destiny without the weight of past hurts. It is God's promise that brokenness will not have the final say, that scars will become marks of victory, and that what was intended for harm will be transformed for good. The kingdom calls for healing because it recognizes that a woman's value is not diminished by her pain. Rather, her healing magnifies the glory of God working through her. This healing often requires divine intervention, patience and surrender, and openness to allow God to mend the heart and renew the mind. It is both a physical and spiritual restoration that empowers her to love again, trust again, and pursue her calling with renewed vigor. Healing is also a testimony, a powerful witness to others who have walked similar paths, showing them that deliverance is possible and that God's grace is sufficient. In the kingdom, healing is strategic. It is not only about the individual, but about the legacy she will leave behind. When God heals, He does not restore her to what was, but elevates her to what can be, whole, empowered, and equipped to overcome. This sacred priority ensures that every woman who has been protected from harm is also prepared to thrive in her divine destiny. Remember this. When God sends His angels to protect you from the narcissist, it is not just an act of defense, it is a declaration that you are priceless in His eyes and destined for greatness. No force of darkness can silence the light God has placed within you. You are guarded because you are chosen, shielded because you are valuable, and preserved because your purpose is too important to be compromised. Stand firm in this truth, walk bold in your divine identity, and never allow anyone to diminish the power and potential God has woven into your life. Your protection is proof of your promise. Embrace it, believe it, and live it.